Good morning and welcome. My name is Anthony Kazazis, and I am the director of the NYC Network Group as well as the NYC Real Estate Expo. And I want to thank you for coming on board and zooming in and registering for today's core promotional strategy. And we're going to be talking about speaking strategies. I'm here with my co-host, Lorendi Roos at Roos Advisors. Roos Advisors is an advisory firm that helps companies improve in sales, marketing, operations, and human development through education. In this 12-week program, where we're now at our 8th week, leading New York real estate experts discuss what it takes to grow your businesses in 2020 using the global popular sales system book, Yourself Solid. It's a handbook for those self-promotions that translates into results. 93% of small business owners who use the system see a 40% increase in their revenue in the first year. Today's special guests are Taryn Byron, a real estate broker, Cathy Hobbs of Cathy Hobbs Design Recipes, and Jason Safford of Winning Exceptionalism will discuss core promotional strategies, again on speaking strategies. Taryn Byron is a top real estate broker specializing in new developments and large-scale residential leasing throughout New Jersey. Ms. Byron has over 17 years of hands-on experience in the real estate sales, leasing, and mentorships, and plays a very big part in the ongoing development of New Jersey Gold Coast. Welcome, Taryn. Jason Safford of Winning with Exceptionalism is an exceptionalism leader, wealth architect, and life and business growth strategist who is committed to living and working at an exceptional level. For nearly 3 decades, he has pursued business and projects that create a positive impact on people and planet while creating a valuable profit. Now he is focused on sharing his vast wealth of experience to help others become exceptional with their own goals. He helps with his clients' breakthrough to reach an elite level of performance and create the wealth and success one has within themselves. And Jason is also a real estate investor. Cathy Hobbs owns Cathy Hobbs Designs Recipes, CHDR, one of the premier staging companies serving the tri-state area. CHDR is an interior design home staging firm specializing in a unique hybrid model that blends luxury real estate, staging and styling, plus extensive video production. With its own in-house production company, CHDR offers brokers the option of hosted property tours, broadcast quality virtual property tours, in addition to interactive virtual 360 tours, all professionally shot and edited, and provides to the broker for their own self-promotions and usage. Cathy is a former New York City-based newscaster turned television host and interior designer. Cathy Hobbs, ASID, is a nationally known and well-respected interior design expert who has appeared on such programs as Good Morning America, World News Tonight, Meredith Vera's show, The Nate Berkus Show, and George to the Rescue. Cathy currently serves as a host, executive producer, and owner of the real estate series Design Recipes, distributed through WPIX TV in New York City. Welcome, Cathy. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my host, Lorendi Roos at Roos Advisors. Welcome, Lorendi.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 8th in this 12-week series. We're so glad to have you with us this morning. This is one of the highlights of my week when we get together and talk about how to get ourselves booked solid, especially in the current environment. Why is that so meaningful, important to me? Because when we have like minds coming together who are still fully engaged in the gifts that we know we were meant to share with the world, nothing can be more inspiring. So today we have the opportunity to speak with 3 esteemed guests and panelists about how they've used their message of who they are, what they stand for, and how that has helped promote them and their brand. So really excited to speak about this today. So in the book Yourself Solid methodology, We use six key core promotion strategies to help us launch ourselves forward and to always be front and center so that those that we are meant to stand in service of know how to find us. So when they're ready, willing, and able to take their business to the next level, they can raise their hand and say, consider dancing with me, as it were. So in the speaking strategy, what we're really speaking about, and why I'm kind of excited that we're talking about this topic today, Anthony, is in the US, there's something going on tonight where some speakers are going to be on a stage talking about, in theory, what they value, and hopefully putting forth their authentic selves. So isn't it interesting? We have 3 incredible speakers today on our platform. They're going to help us talk from a non-political perspective, what they care about, and come to us from an authentic place. So in the Book Yourself Solid methodology of speaking, we're really kind of looking at 4 things. Number 1, the foundation of why people would choose you. So the way that you speak about what you do, why you're engaged in the work that you're engaged in, having a speaking platform and a place to speak about that in a really powerful way helps you be more credible and obviously makes it easier for people to find you. Also in our speaking strategy, we're always looking at, we really are promoting, and it's no mystery to any of the presenters on our call today, that we really truly are coming from an authentic place. And authenticity, Anthony, gets thrown around a lot these days. But what authenticity means in the Book Yourself Solid methodology is that I know who I am. I know what I stand for, irrespective of the role that I'm serving. This is where we go back to whether I'm a butcher, baker, or candlestick maker, my who I am remains the same. And so I'm able to build trust and credibility for my brand because whether I'm a mom, a church member, a business owner, whatever role I'm a wife, whatever role I'm filling today, I know who I am. And so I'm someone that you can trust. So whether you decide to do business with me or not, hopefully we run in the same circles and you know that my word is my creed. And I'm able to speak about that in a way that is compelling. And then in the speaking strategy, we are able, once we've built that foundation of authenticity, we are able to then speak about what we have to offer. And then we're able to, what we like to call is speak to share rather than speak to sell. Not that there's anything wrong with speaking to sell, but imagine that I know I have a platform, whether I've created that platform, I've been invited to that platform, or I'm invited to share about what I value and something that I know my team is really good at. Then it's about the salesy piece of it. And then people who continue to show up and be in the rooms where you are, when they're ready, willing, and able, which is a real estate methodology, isn't it? When they're a ready, willing, and able buyer, then you're one of the people that they would consider saying, yes, I want to have a deeper conversation. And then finally, when we're able to build a foundation built on authenticity, we're able to build that trust and credibility over time. We're able to simply share about what makes us an interesting opportunity or an interesting provider. Then we're able to, what we like to say, shamelessly self-promote, because now we know who we are, we know what we have to offer, and we want to be speaking to as many people as possible to see if there's an opportunity. So we always say, Anthony, that we're instead of always be selling, always be connecting. So the ABCs, always be connecting with other humans who are on a path that they're probably in your same vortex so that you can connect with them. And then there's a reciprocal aspect that takes place where we're able to decide whether we're meant to work together. And if not now, maybe at some point in the future. Or what we also do at Roost Advisors is that if there's a need that you have, and we know we're not the best to provide it for you, we have that really solid Rolodex of people that we've curated because we've been connecting for the last 20 years that we can connect you with someone who might be a better provider for you. So Anthony, I'm going to turn the time over to you now.
Guys, this is all for all three of you, speaking methods. And how, with speaking methods, of course, do you use it to go after your potential clients? And it could be whether you're at a convention, on a panel, or at an expo or a webinar. How do you guys use your speaking methods to grab your potential clients? Let's start off with Cathy, then we'll go with Taryn, and then Jason.
To me, speaking is really a marketing tool. It's a way to get your name out there and really spread the word and build creativity, credibility rather. So, for a lot of industries, writing a book gives you instant credibility. For a lot of other industries, public speaking to large groups, small groups, even hosting webinars now, that's another credibility builder. And so I think these are essentially building blocks. And what leads to business is that name recognition. So what I do is I actually host, and I did this for years and years, my own kind of evenings where I would invite notable people from real estate. And most of the time they were people who I wanted to establish a relationship with. And I would say, would you like to be on my panel? We would have a red carpet. We would have invitations and catering, and there would be sponsors, whether it's a moving company or that type of entity. We'd host it at a store, a retail store or showroom, and we would get hundreds of real estate agents who would come. And the people who I invited to be on that panel were instantly contacts for me. And the people who I spoke to that night and who the other people spoke to that night, they have all those connections and networking. So the power of public speaking is really, to me, part and parcel with getting your name out there, marketing yourself, and building that credibility within your industry.
Very good, Cathy. Thank you. Taryn?
I mean, I agree with Cathy 100%. It's definitely something that's used as a building block, and having this as a platform to speak to other professionals and have your voice heard, it creates that brand recognition. People begin to know you, like you, trust you, and it makes it that much easier to want to do business with you. We're in an industry that's real estate in general is very saturated by a lot of different brands, a lot of different agents, a lot of different modes of being in real estate. So everyone has a voice. Every brand has its brand message. And quite frankly, real estate is way more than just an elevator pitch. So this gives you an opportunity to have more than that 5 seconds to get into someone's ear, because when you really think about things, investments in real estate, it's a lot of money. So to me, it's a lot more than just a quick elevator pitch, and these types of events make it a little bit more, well, a lot bit more tactile, rather than almost the salesy type thing. You really become a person with a message, and what do you stand for, rather than an elevator pitch.
Very good, Taryn. Very good. And Jason, welcome.
You'll have to forgive me for a busy morning with renovations, but talk about real estate. One of the challenges is renovations. And I was saying that being able to follow these two very intelligent women in terms of their statements, telling your story, creating a platform where people know, like, and trust you is absolutely the key to really building your business and building your brand. So all I can say to complement what they've already said is that you want to do exactly what Lorende said in terms of present your authentic self. And you want your story to really resonate with the ideal customer that you're going after. So real estate is a huge industry, and everybody has their specific focus, their specific niche. So when you are speaking, you have to realize that you're not going to address everybody in the room. You're going to, address people that really, have an alignment and identify with your particular story. And that is how you build your brand and your business with the people that really resonate with your message. So telling your story, number one, is not just about who you are. It's also about the information that you are providing to somebody that they're looking for. And in a sense, they already know, but you're validating and confirming things that they really, believe or are looking for. And, Taryn said it best. This is a big amount of money. This is a big investment for anybody. And, they've probably done their homework. What they're looking for is somebody who presents that credibility that makes them feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing, but I want that person that also knows what they're doing, that I can trust to, really help me make the right decision here. So to me, being able to get out there and present yourself is also about clarifying your message around what it is that you want your ideal customer to know about you, that gravitates them to you and pulls them to you and says, yes, that's the person that I want to do business with.
That's great. That's great, Jason. You know who I always admired in this industry is a fellow in the commercial industry is Bob Nackel. And Bobby was always out there. He was always out there. He was always speaking. He was speaking in the morning, in the afternoon, and also at night. So, and of course, I'm not sure how many of you guys know Bob Nackel, but Massey Nackel sold their business for about $100 million to Cushman & Wakefield. But Bob now is with JLL, and Massey is on his own with B6. But those two guys were like the masters of out there public speaking, which I always admired and looked up to. Guys, what topics do you speak about that delights your audience? And why don't we start off with Taryn, and then Cathy, and then Jason?
Well, my topics kind of vary. I mean, this is something to me that's very different from what I would typically speak about. I typically get approached to speak on panels for more analytical data. Through COVID, we did a full series on Road to Your Dream Home that I had the pleasure of working with Cathy on. And we talked about everything from design to the lending process to how even the functionality of our business as brokers and showing property changed. So, there's really no rules. And I think what's most important in any industry as a professional is to be adaptable and be able to speak on a multitude of topics, not that you don't know anything about, but being able to lend your experience and your expertise to a variety of topics, whether it's design from a broker standpoint or investments from a broker standpoint, or even just showing property and how that's changed for consumers from a broker standpoint. So all of those things are important, and I think it makes you multidimensional and more effective as a professional when you can cross different lines and flip-flap back and forth and speak on different topics.
Very good, Taryn. Thank you. Cathy?
I want to talk a little bit about how to get comfortable speaking. Because I think, when you talk about wanting to kind of get your name out there, I think that there probably are people who are on this webinar who are like, well, I don't even know if I feel comfortable speaking. And so how do you get there? My background is in television. I was a newscaster for more than 20 years, but anyone can really do this. And one of the key ways to do it is to really know your audience and be relatable to that audience. And going back to what Jason said, who do you want to appeal to? Who do you want to market to? Who do you want to do business with? When I do any sort of public appearance, I start out with a little bit about my background, and then I go to relatable stories that can relate to that audience. And then I go to essentially educational opportunities and nuggets, those takeaways that people can resonate with. But you always have to have those relatable stories that your audience will resonate with. And so I'd say just start with that. And if you're not comfortable, take a Toastmasters course. Practice in your home. When I was first starting out as a little cub reporter, I would sit in my dorm at the University of Southern California, and I would practice doing live shots, trying to get comfortable. So you have to start small and then go bigger. Start with a little small networking group. Build your confidence that way, and then build up to bigger platforms and forums. But you have to get your name out there, and you have to start public speaking. And I think that will really help you get that educational component that will lead to even more credibility for you and your business.
And it's so true, Cathy, because before I started the expo, I started with a small networking group at a diner, and I got everybody up to do their introductions, just like a BNI. And then of course the networking group just grew and grew and grew, and then it grew into the expo. So it's very true, guys. Starting up a networking group, it's a lot of fun. You engage, you're up there practicing, and it really builds up your confidence. So definitely that's a good point what Cathy's saying about the networking group. Jason?
Yeah, I'm going to approach this from a different angle, just to feed off of what Cathy just mentioned, and sort of share that, for 2 decades now, how I've approached it is to start with my personal mission. And, I think that is what everybody should sort of think about, is that why are you doing this? And, if you're not comfortable speaking, if you're not ready yet, talking to people and simply learning what they're focused on and sharing your mission. And if you're not sure what your mission is, that's what speaking helps you to define. Because what you find out as you speak to people is that they're looking for guidance. They don't necessarily have, the answers themselves. Again, as I said, they have a lot of information, but they also are looking for somebody to help them with execution. And when you stand in front of people, you automatically are executing. So you are giving people a sense of not only authority and authenticity, but action, because now you are taking action by being a speaker. And so the number of topics that I now speak about really are based on, what is the audience? What are they really looking for? Obviously, my angle is always from an executive and entrepreneurship investment focus, but I can speak to a number of subjects just based on what the audience is really sort of, searching for in their own networking group, or if it's a larger event, where are the professional focuses, being directed. And so crafting a talk around what the audience's focus is, their professional industry, is really just a matter of understanding, how does my vision, how does my mission relate to what it is they're trying to do, and just angle it from that direction.
Thank you so much, Jason, Taryn, and Cathy. So this is a great segue into a question I threw a curveball at our panelists this morning about 90 minutes ago. And again, it was based on the fact that we're going to be hearing from a couple of people who have the potential to be our US leaders tonight. And you already kind of hit on it, but I was hoping you'll take us a little bit deeper. I love how you talked about being adaptable, relatable, and getting into action. I love that, the ARA, adaptable, relatable, actionable. And so and I'm going to start with Jason, how has your personal journey informed your brand and therefore what you're speaking about today? How has your personal journey informed your brand and therefore what you speak about today? And then we'll go to Taryn and then Cathy.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you, Lorendi. Again, I've been an entrepreneur and executive for over 2 decades now. And when I started, I was in the height of the .com, and unfortunately 9/11 happened and I lost my company, and I was supposed to be in the building, but fortunately I didn't make it to the meeting. And that was a major shift in my life. I immediately transitioned to real estate with the idea of putting solar rooftops on houses in Brooklyn. And I was lucky enough to get a partner who went into business with me. And we went on this journey of developing real estate with an environmental focus and responsibility, and really getting out there in front of the green movement. And over the next 15 years, we did a number of really, really cool, exciting projects in solar and wind, and learning how to develop microgrid communities. The ironic part is we never actually built or developed any property in Brooklyn because we just got involved with so many other exciting activities. However, during that time, I also was learning so much about the industry from design, engineering, finance, operations, property management. The industry is so large. And then on top of that, creating companies to operate within the businesses that we were, or the properties that we were developing. And so I learned an incredible amount, and that shifted me in terms of what is it that I really wanted to do with my life beyond just, helping people with renewable energy and a better quality of life. And I started to focus on the fact that this planet has two major problems, which are hunger and homelessness. And they are problems that we could easily solve if we directed our attention to them. Hunger is just a distribution issue, and homelessness is really, again, a physical property issue, and both of these could be solved. And with climate change and all of these other issues that I've learned about, I realized that this is where I really wanted to focus, and how could I use my platform, how could I use my business acumen to really bring attention to this. And so over the last 5 years, I really redirected my focus towards being able to help people at the executive level and entrepreneurial level, and get them to understand that in achieving more, in doing more, in wanting to create a bigger vision, how could you give back and solve these two issues? And so that is how I've developed my platform of exceptionalism, and really trying to direct people towards becoming exceptional by doing more and really wanting to break through to the next level with opportunity to do more for the planet as well.
Thank you, Jason. Taryn?
So, I started off surprisingly in this industry almost 20 years ago. Some people may not believe that because I don't look as old as I actually am. Thanks, Mom, for the good genes. But, I think through experience, and like Cathy mentioned earlier, through your experiences as you develop as a professional, you then add onto your branding and message. And as Jason mentioned earlier, through these speaking engagements and interacting with other professionals, through talking, asking questions, you can then hone in on what your brand identity is, because essentially in real estate, we are our own brand. So we have to kind of find that and then become unapologetically our brand and stick to our branding and have that come through. Because I will tell you, through my experience in this industry, people have excellent, I like to call it BS meters, so they can tell when you're kind of just fudging things. So through figuring out who you are and developing who you are as a professional and what you stand for, what your, purpose is within this business, that's how then you can clearly identify, and then finding ways to communicate those nuggets, as Cathy mentioned before, and throw them out there. That's something that's just invaluable, especially when you are in a public speaking platform, whatever it may be, whether it's a networking group like Anthony mentioned earlier, or an expo, or even a webinar like we're on today.
Thank you, Taryn. Cathy?
Kind of bringing it back to why we're all here, the book Yourself Solid, and how public speaking can help. I always believe that everybody is a brand already. and your brand may be weak or it may be strong. Can people count on you? You're known as someone who's very generous. You're known as someone who, maybe is reliable. I think that the personal brand that we each have should then be resonated in our message and how we operate as business people. I know that my personal brand is that, come hook or crook, people can count on me, and they can count on me to get the job done. And just a quick personal story relating to that. I had slipped on the ice one day at my child's school, and Lorendi knows this story. And I was, I had to be taken to the emergency room. And I then posted on Facebook my leg basically in a cast, and I had crutches next to it. And I was supposed to do a staging job the next day and also a shoot for my show on Channel 11. And I got one email that said, "Cathy, are you canceling? Oh my God, I heard that you were on crutches." And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, you're on crutches." I said, "I'm doing it on crutches." I mean, it's unaffected. So, and then the staging broker called me and said, are you still going to move forward? I said, I will be there at 8 a.m. And because it was a walk up, and it took me 30 minutes to get to the top of the 5th floor. I stood there on crutches. I helped direct my team. And then I hobbled down and got into the car and drove off. But the bottom line is, one of the people on the team said, "Did Cathy cancel?" And they said, "No." They said, "If Cathy didn't cancel, she's not canceling." And so that goes again to my personal brand. So ask yourself, each one of you who are here today, what is your personal brand? And that really is the springboard to your platform for your public speaking. And for public speaking, it means networking, socializing. The next time you go to that cocktail party, the next time you're at the PTA meeting, the next time you're in the soccer field, how you talk about yourself casually or professionally, it's all the same.
Thank you, Cathy. Such great points. We're coming up with so many great nuggets: adaptable, relatable, actionable, unapologetic. And again, the reason that Taryn and Cathy and Jason can speak so powerfully about this is because it's who they are. And then something within them has given them the confidence and the courage to be unapologetic and be grateful to have an opportunity to speak. I'm going to turn the time back over to Anthony to ask a couple questions. Just want to remind our participants, use the chat. This is an opportunity. We're going to go into question and answer here in about the next 5 minutes. Use the chat feature to ask questions, anything that you're curious about our panelists and about how they've used the speaking strategy to elevate their brands. They would love to hear from you. Either a question or just send some love for them showing up so powerfully for us this morning would be amazing. Anthony, I'm going to turn it back to you for a couple questions.
That's great. Thanks, Randy. I guess, guys, in this current environment, how are you guys using these strategies? And want to start off with Jason? Let's start off with Jason.
Sure. So it's a great question. Obviously, this is an unprecedented time. And the first thing is, obviously, it's a huge opportunity to really learn and transition your business into the virtual world if you haven't done it before. There are a lot of advantages to being able to network online in ways that it's much more difficult and time consuming to network face-to-face. The other opportunity really is learning the technology and how you can further data mine the contacts and the resources that you're looking for expansively, growing your network to speak. We're using the Zoom platform, which has become very, very popular with people. And one of the things that we really don't realize is the amount of knowledge that is being, in terms of bandwidth growing, put out through all of these different online networking events and speaking events. So, from that standpoint, there are so many groups out there that are looking for speakers, that are looking for people to share their story because everybody's going online. And the second thing is that everybody's trying to learn something new. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who were interested in getting into real estate before that are now taking the opportunity to take an online class and learn something and network because they don't have a lot of other things occupying their time right now. And, so that goes for all of us in terms of the opportunity to increase our knowledge and learn. And so your story, and again, being authentic, is something that right now people are really interested in learning about people because they have the time, because they aren't occupied the way they were with, the travel and being able to network. And I think also the other aspect of that is that we love stories, and the ability to learn a new story every day, right now is an incredible time from that standpoint. With everything that's going on in the world, you have the ability to stay where you are and just constantly learn new people and new, angles on life and new, ways of looking at things. And to me, that's really exciting. And being a part of it is, just like being a part of this panel, is an absolutely wonderful opportunity to both meet people, learn different perspectives, and be able to share my position and platform for people to hear.
Thanks, Jason. Cathy?
I think that the main takeaway is, ask yourself, really, what is your goal as it relates to your business and yourself? And really model yourself even after some of those people who you may admire as mentors or other business people. Throughout my whole entire career, I would study, people whose work I admired or whose business model I appreciated. As a reporter, I would have a book of great lines from correspondence that I loved. And these were just all kind of things that I would file away. And some of them I would kind of massage and make my own, or it'd be a springboard for my own ideas and creativity. I think these days, this is an opportunity through the virtual world, as Jason mentioned, to expand our horizons. Before, I would have had to jam in, a cocktail event or a network event, and now you may or may not have more time because we're also, using our time differently. But for example, I attended a chamber, a New York City Chamber of Commerce networking event. I would have probably never had time to go to that. And I actually met a contact, an attorney who I'm now using. And so sometimes, just that one little spark, if you go to one networking event and make one contact, that's worth it. That's a contact that you wouldn't have had before. That's a door that's now opened that you wouldn't have known about. I think that every day you should be doing something to grow your business every single day. And I can tell you that that's what I'm doing every single day. And you have to show up. And I don't mean show up. You have to bring it and be prepared and awakened and also have an agenda and purpose, but have it be authentic, so that it doesn't seem robotic. It does come from the heart. But if you have these types of things within you, it will come naturally because it's who you are. And so every single time someone meets you, they're getting the same message because it's true and it's who you are. And so I think that now a lot of us who may be introverted, let's get ourselves out there. And you can do it so much more easily through Zoom. And it's more casual now, right? You don't have to stand on a stage in front of 3,000 people or in front of 300 people. You can do it in a platform that is a little bit more forgiving. You don't have to have on makeup all the time, or you don't have to be wearing a suit and being on stage. Or if I was doing a big event, I don't have to be in a gown or a fancy dress. So these are times to even use as opportunities to hone your skills and get out there more, and expose yourself to different environments and expand your horizons.
That's great, Cathy. Really good. I'd like to add something after Taryn speaks. Taryn?
High five to Cathy. That was amazing. Amazing. And, you know, I feel like everyone, to one of your points, kind of has this Zoom mullet going on, you know, we're business on the top and then sweatpants on the bottom. So it gives you like all the comforts of home, and, you know, being able to be comfortable. But, you know, what I like to say is through this and how the world's changing day by day, you hear so much about this industry being dead, that industry being dead. Industries are not dead. It's how we go about doing things is changing. And change always scares people. And one of the things that is kind of on the forefront and has the biggest trajectory is content creation. And you then become a content creator and you can put your message out not only to people at a networking event in New York, for example, you can syndicate this out to anywhere around the world. So you're able to get a broader reach. And if your content is genuine and compelling and thoughtful and authentic, then it actually will resonate with people. So don't just create content to create content. Create something that someone's excited to hear about and speak to something that you're passionate about, because then those things automatically will permeate through your message. Just like Cathy was speaking with so much excitement just now, it's all of these things roll into each other and you can then use this for your overall brand. So what I've learned through COVID and through everything that we've gone through in the world is content creation is so important, more now than ever before, because the industries that we're all in and the world that we're in is changing day by day. So become a creator of content. Get your message out there.
That's great, Taryn. Hey guys, I want to guys ask you, each one of you guys, are you guys doing any series right now, webinar series? Taryn, do you have anything lined up for the future that we could also promote? Now, I know that all three of you are going to be on our virtual expo in March, April, but right now, are you doing anything? If you could talk about it, are you going to be doing any kind of? That's okay. That's okay. No, that's all right, Taryn. But in the future, will you be doing series with your new company? Will you be doing series?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Kathy, are you doing any series right now that you could share with the audience?
I will be. And so what we've kind of come up with is blending my background in television and interior design and staging. And so I'm going to be doing a series of webinars on educating real estate agents on how to appear on camera. You know, what to wear, what mics to use, what cameras to use, what backgrounds to use, how to write the perfect script, different things like that, because I think that a lot of people are now wanting to use that platform, that video platform, and a lot of people don't know the tricks of the trade. And so we're going to be doing a series on, you know, almost like, you know, tips. Like I said, everything from makeup to clothing and things like that. And we may even have some guest speakers on there to talk about their industry, maybe a makeup artist, a wardrobe stylist and things like that, you know, a production specialist, because a lot of times I'm seeing bad videos. I'm seeing videos where, you know, you guys, you gotta have the light. If you can see, I have a ring light here. You have to use the right mic. You have to have the you know, the correct equipment. And a lot of people just don't know, you know, how to do that. So I'm going to be educating people on how to do that through these, through this webinar series.
Oh, that's great, Kathy. We would be so excited to promote that too on our calendar of events. So looking forward to seeing your series. Jason, are you doing any series right now?
I am, and but first I have to say, Cathy, I would be very interested in watching your series myself, simply because, again, I'm running around my own house as we're doing a renovation. I got two little kids that were homeschooling, and even this morning I had to find a place that was quiet. And obviously that's why I have the headphones, so that you guys don't hear the banging and going on and everything else. So again, it's an incredible time. I am doing a new podcast called Addressing the Elephant in the Room. with a coach in Tennessee who focuses on aha moments. And our goal is to interview leaders about the questions that everybody wants to ask, but nobody seems to have the courage to ask. And when you identify those challenges, how you really go about bringing it up to everybody in the room. Separately, I'm launching another podcast as well based on my book, Winning with Exceptionalism, where I'm interviewing exceptional leaders, how they broke through, what it really took for them to get to the next level. And, I am available to be a speaker on anybody's series. So, I'll plug myself right there, obviously being the opportunity here. One thing I've learned is you always let everybody know you're available to speak elsewhere.
Very good tip, guys. Yeah, get yourself out there, guys, and make yourself available.
I'm available
be
too.
Surprised. Yep, there you go, Cathy.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that was one of the questions, Anthony. One of our guests asked, how are panelists getting these speaking engagements? And they both, Cathy, Taryn, and Jason just demonstrated. Raise your hand and say, I will. Right? I will do that. And as Taryn talked about, content is king, and there's never been a better opportunity to get onto podcasts, to get onto webinars. And it's just simply letting people know that you're available. So,
and Lorendi, if I can say something really quickly, coming up as a reporter, and even now doing interior design, I have actually never said no. Unless I physically could not be available. Whenever someone asked me to speak at their event, I have never said no. At a school, on career day, at a church, at a gala, at a networking event, I have actually never said no. And I think that's a good point that you just brought up.
Thank you. So as we close out, I want to ask a fun question, and then we'll let, after the panelists respond, we'll have Anthony take us home. I remember studying with a speaking coach a few years back because I grew up on my daddy's platform. He was a minister. And so I started singing at the age of 4. So singing was always easy for me. And I learned kind of later in life, the reason I loved it so much was there was a moment when you could connect with an audience in a way that I hadn't hitherto experienced. So that connection point when you're singing to the audience and there's something that happens emotionally. So when I studied with the speaking coach, he taught me that if you need to imagine you're singing to hit that connection point, kind of that flash point of connection, do that. So I'm just wondering, I would like to ask each of the panelists, was there a moment in time as young as you were, or maybe a little bit later in life, when you recognized I have to speak? Because that's where I am at now. I have to speak because I want to have those flashpoints of connection with humanity that only comes when I'm able to speak. So I just want to ask each of the panelists. Taryn, let's start with you. Was there a flashpoint of connection or a time when you said, I must do this?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, surprisingly, you may not think this from this, but I've come a long way. I was the kid in class that the teacher would actually send notes home when I would speak because I was so timid and shy. And then when we would have to give presentations growing up in school, I would faint. So I couldn't even speak in front of a group. I would get so anxious and worked up. And then I had to take public speaking in college. And my college professor told me, and I told this story to Anthony the other day, go get a bartending job and go work at a really nice cocktail bar, wine bar, where you're going to meet professionals. Don't go to one of those drink slinging places because you're not going to talk to anybody. Go get a very high-end bartending job. You will meet so many people and be forced to start a conversation with these people and have an intelligent conversation with these people about things that you probably have no idea about. And it was the most terrifying thing I have ever done. I worked the lunch shift at a wine bar. And I met so many great people and realized, wow, in real estate sales, I'm going to have to do this all the time and speak to people and connect with them on a level to sell them a home and understand what they're looking for and what their needs are. Because most buyers, as you guys know, and sellers for that matter, they keep everything very surface level. So it's our job as salespeople to really dig deep and kind of unpack things almost like a therapist and get to the meat and potatoes of what these people actually want. So it was then that I discovered that I actually need to have important, meaningful, impactful conversations with people if I was going to be successful in any respect in business.
Thank you, Taryn. Cathy.
For me, I always felt comfortable speaking, but the big kind of, opening for me was when I was 21 years old and I was a reporter in Columbia, South Carolina, and I did my first live shot. And live TV is a little bit different than recorded. And I was so nervous, and it wasn't the best live shot in the world. But from there, I was always an evening news reporter in which I always had to go live. And I typically opened up the newscast, or I was one of the first two stories. And a couple of tips I just want to give people when it comes to public speaking. Number one is don't apologize. Don't say, I'm sorry if you mess up. Essentially, it's like a stumbling horse. If you apologize, you're going to keep stumbling. Just keep going. If you flub, just keep going. No one will notice. People will notice when you call their attention to it and you actually apologize. The other thing is to have a series of just 3 talking points. I always recommend don't read from a script. If you read from a script, if you mess up, then you're going to not even be able to find your place. It's going to get all discombobulated. Have 3 talking points and weave your discussion through those 3 talking points. And so I just want to give you guys that tip, because when I was asked to go live and then began a career then as a live reporter in news, just keeping it simple really helped me. And so I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Cathy. Jason, your flashpoint moment.
Yeah, so I'm going to steal a little bit of Cathy's thunder here in terms of showing up, because my segue into speaking, I've always been comfortable being able to speak in front of people, but it was a matter of being on time. And actually, it's ironic because today I was late and I have to call myself out and apologize, but normally I'm the guy that's super early. And I wound up having to speak at a conference, not because I was a speaker or, listed, but because they didn't have anybody. Nobody showed up. And they just turned to me and they said, well, what do we do? And I was just like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll just start talking until somebody shows up. And I wound up giving a 90-minute presentation on real estate development from the standpoint of learning how to become a WIM developer. And afterwards, everybody came up to me and said, that was the best speech they had ever heard. And the truth was, it was totally off the cuff. It was just me trying to buy time while they got everybody together. And eventually the speakers were there. And apparently it was an accident on the highway that had, prevented everybody from getting there. So number one, showing up is really sort of the biggest opportunity, because you never know when you're going to fall into it. But for me, it was something where the accolades that everybody sort of, pulled me aside and said, you're really good at this. And then separately, I wound up becoming a teacher at NYU, teaching real estate, environmental principles, and sustainable development. And that was when I really realized that I had a platform, because my students then convinced me to write a book. And they said, listen, we really want to, do more with you after this class, because it's obvious that you really understand the industry from this green perspective, and we really want to go in that direction. So you don't know until people give you feedback, how good you are, number one. So you got to get out there and do it. But number two is that, again, as Cathy said, you got to show up. You always got to, be willing to take the opportunity, never say no. because your next client is in that audience.
Thank you, Jason. Anthony, do you want to bring us home?
Yes. Once again, guys, really, you guys are all fantastic. I can't really wait until March, April, when you guys are actually going to be on the virtual trade show, which is the expo. And Cathy Hobbs is actually going to be one of the moderators for the residential panel. And I believe that Taryn's going to be on there as a panelist. I know that Lorendi and myself and Jason and Lorendi's partner, Bruce, will be talking about our new networking events that we're going to be doing, which is a national and global event. That's going to be really exciting, and we will let everybody know about it. We did do a recorded copy here. We will send it out to everybody. And again, we'd love to have you guys join us next week when we venture into week 9 of Book Yourself Solid. But once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, one more story about Cathy Hobbs. I know Cathy Hobbs. She reminds me of Bob Knackle, and she's out there. She's really out there. But one day I was watching HGTV, and I saw Cathy on TV, and I yelled at my girls, Alexandra and Lena. I go, "That's Cathy Hobbs. I know her. She's definitely." She interviewed all my clients at my expo, but I was so proud to see her on TV, and she's really a superstar, guys. She is something else, and it really is an honor to know Cathy and to have Cathy here as a panelist. And I really can't wait to get her series out there and promote her series. So again, once again, I know Taryn's she's a rising star, and she's gonna be something else. But again, I'm looking forward to having them both together on the residential panel in March. We haven't decided on the date yet. It could be March or April, but they will be exciting to watch. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you hopefully next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.